Hello, murderers and wanderers. Welcome to a very special Halloween mini episode of The Wandering Crow. Here's a story I have. In this one, I especially the way that she tells it, I am inclined to actually believe her. So this was in 2019 in the summer. This was in Lamoille County in Eden, Vermont, which I think is also in the Bennington Triangle. I tried to keep all of my Bigfoot sightings tied to the area of Bennington. However, there are a ton of Bigfoot sightings all throughout.
I read this story. Huh? Keep going.
Yeah. So it was today. So she wrote this to BFRO the literal day that it happened. So she goes, the sighting was today, August 6, 2019 at 10:15 a.m. in our Vermont summer cabin. I'm 67, a retired RN and former private pilot with excellent vision. My vision is 2015, so I was not mistaken, she says. It was not a bear. We have had a bear here by the deck, so I know what bears look like standing up to the reach feeder. It was a sunny day, and my small Chihuahua mix was out front in her cage. She was barking, so I walked out the front deck and looked toward the dirt road where she was looking. We sit back approximately about 125 feet from the road. I saw a very black, humanoid shape walking on two legs go past our driveway. It was half bent over, then straightened up. It had long arms swinging. The head was turned away and appeared to have a very short neck and roundish head from that angle. I said to myself, that looks like a chimp. I watched for it for approximately 12 seconds until it disappeared behind trees going east on the road. There are spots that I can see through the trees to the neighbor's drive, so I was looking for it to either go up the drive or continue on the road. When it did not, I walked out to the end of the drive, which was approximately 200 feet, with my air horn. There was nothing on the road for some distance. Later in the day, I went out to that area with my small dog. She refused to even walk and was trembling. This is the same dog that almost went through a screen door to attack the bear by our feeder a few weeks ago. I noticed an area of bent weeds that would have been where the creature had exited our woods, going into a small ditch and then back up to get onto the road before walking past our drive. On the roadside, in the direction I saw it going, there were 3 barefoot heel depressions with faint toe markings, approximately 12 inches long. The area was dry with fine gravel, so not a clear print. The week before, I had heard twigs snapping and weeds moving behind my fenced garden. This is approximately 40 feet from the front porch where I often sit, and the dog barked. The noise stopped, then started again, so I fired off my air horn, which I always have near after an encounter with a large coy wolf. The cabin sits about 100 feet above the North Branch Lamoille River, and there are many snowmobile and ATV trails, plus the long trail is only about 1/5 of a mile. It was very wooded and remote, a few homes and camps on our road. And then the follow-up investigation from the BFRO investigator, his name is Jeff Shepard. So he went. He goes, I did a site visit with the homeowner about a month later to discuss her daytime encounter. We discussed her experiences and she gave me a tour of her property and the surrounding area where she had her sighting and has experienced other unusual happenings. The property owner was very cordial and felt the need to share her experiences. She gave background information on the geography of the local area as well as animals native to her surroundings, including the visit by a bull moose just hours before my arrival. On the morning of the sighting, she had her pet chihuahua outside in a large metal cage. She has in the past experienced coy wolf, so she thought maybe it had returned. She noticed the direction her dog was looking and heard something walking in the woods where her property was and lots of neighbors next door. She thought it was probably a deer, as they have also been seen cutting through that side of the property. When I asked if it could have been a bear, she said she was positive that it wasn't a bear. She's very familiar with bears due to the number of bears that have been in her yard and on her property. She has seen bears standing up in her garden, and their arms' legs were much shorter in relation to their bodies than this creature that she saw across her driveway. So she was able to approximate the creature's height as around 6 foot tall, give or take, by having her husband stand in the sighting location.
Clever.
So 10 days after her initial sighting, so August 16th, while out hiking along the road, the homeowner came across a hollow tree and struck it 3 times with her hiking stick. To her surprise, she got a response back from across the river that runs behind her property. Intrigued, she did it again and got 6 responses to the 10 knocks she had done. This made her nervous and she decided against continuing.
The knocking sound on trees. That's another
Yep.
commonality.
That's why I wanted that red.
On another occasion,
Good one.
9/19, so this is a month later, while walking on the road, about half a mile from her home, she encountered something throwing rocks up into a tall pine tree, knocking the pine cones to the ground. Staying very quiet, she stood watching as rock after rock kept knocking large pine cones to the ground. Whoever or whatever was throwing the rocks was on the other side of the tree in thick overgrowth across a small stream. A neighbor drove up the road and stopped to say hello. The woman was a little scared at this point, and with her neighbor there, it gave her the opportunity and courage to quickly make her way back home. The following day, she returned with her husband, only to find the pine trees in this section of the forest had no pine cones on them, and there were none on the ground. It appeared that whoever or whatever knocked the pine cones down had collected them and taken them from the area.
Hmm. Do you think Bigfoot eats pine cones like a cracker?
He went back
Probably
to his
omnivore.
cave to do some crafts.
I mean, you can take the pine nuts and you can cook them. I mean, what do we know
bears
about?
eat them too, but they don't
Do they?
carry them away.
Yeah.
So that would have been on the floor.
So I find her story compelling because she's very clear to say, like, I know what the animals of the area look like. This did not look like them. So just a really good story.
All right, murderer. So there you have it. This was a recording for originally part 2 of our Bennington Triangle series. However, that ended up being more than 2 hours long, so something made the cut, and this is one of them. But we're so happy to bring this back for you as a mini. We have many, many more minis coming and super fun, scary stories to celebrate the Halloween season and the thinning of the veil. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.